Welcome to Dan the Cleaning Man channel, where we help you build and grow a successful commercial cleaning business. Whether you're just starting out or looking to expand, we provide expert tips, step-by-step guides, and proven strategies to help you succeed. Subscribe now and join our community to stay ahead in the commercial cleaning industry.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Dan the Cleaning Man channel. I have a special guest with me today. His name is Richard Hill. When I first got into the business, I was pretty much a rookie. I was wet behind the ears. And this gentleman guided me to where I am today. There's a lot of technical aspects to floor cleaning, and he has certainly educated me and a lot of my colleagues over the past year where we made some additional sales, which in turn helped him and his company. So we're very excited to introduce Richard to the YouTube community. And so, Richard, go ahead and kind of introduce yourself from your perspective and how long you've been in the business.
Okay. Well, I'm Richard Hill, based here in Dallas, Texas. I've been in the business now for, I guess, about 27 years or so. I was with VMC, Verona Marble Company, here in Dallas for about 17 years. And then I got acquired by Aramco about 6 years ago. And basically what we did at VMC, we basically did training and on how to maintain marble, granite, all your natural stones, and then also concrete polishing was our biggest thing over there. We manufactured chemicals, and we also did training on the restoration of marble, granite, and concrete polishing. Sold machines, equipment, and all the things that go along with it. And Aramco acquired us about 6 years ago, and I've been over there ever since. And it's been a good acquisition that happened. It's been a great opportunity for me to even grow even further into our business. Obviously, we were a smaller company at BMC, but Aramco's a very large company, and have a lot more opportunities with Aramco with all the different products that we have available to offer in various industries. I mean, we have all kinds of different industries that we're into with Aramco, from restoration to abatement to floor preparation, demolition, janitorial, stone restoration and stuff too. So it's multiple companies, multiple families.
Yeah, and a lot to you share there within your company. Y'all also do certification on a lot of that, right?
Yeah. There's some certification IRC classes that we offer through our either online services, or we actually do have some hands-on training there at our offices too throughout the United States.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then y'all are heavily involved in the conventions, ISSA shows. There might be another convention that I know you go to. If any of the community has been to them and seen Richard, he's always front and center at them things, and kind of doing some demos and so forth. Is ISSA the primary one, right?
ISSA is a huge show for Aramco. ISSA, the Experience, I think, is another one that they do each year. ISSA Coverings show. The real big one that we do every year too. Actually, Aramco has their own show too that they do. It's called Nexus, and we have that coming up in January. That's just basically an Aramco show where we invite all our vendors and suppliers in to set up their booths, and then have our customers come in to actually get around and speak to each of the vendors personally, hands-on, that may have questions, or there's even training classes that go on during that period of time too. It's just a 3-day seminar, or a 3-day show, I should say, in Vegas this year. I forget what the date is right now. I don't have it in front of me. It runs back to back with the World of Concrete show, which we do too every year, which is a large show that we do every year also that's in Vegas. The Nexus show, and I apologize, Danny, I don't have the dates in front of me. I might be able to pull them up real quick and tell you, but we do have that Nexus show is a really great show to go to, that Aramco. It's an Aramco show, and like I said, we have all our vendors there from all the supplies that we sell, and you're free to come there, ask questions, and talk to the vendors directly. Sorry.
No, I did. I was unaware of that. So it seems like everything is going to Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's actually January the 14th and 15th in Vegas. But it's called the Nexus Show. It's at the Paris is where it's going to be. That's a really good show to go to. I would you might want to look that up, and if you want, Danny, I can send you some information on that. Not something you can add attached to this conference.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think that would be very helpful. And, these conventions, you learn so much from them. And there's so many different vendors out there in equipment. We got individuals coming overseas and selling their new upcoming equipment as well. And you always walk away taking away something.
yeah. You always pick up something new. I mean, there's a lot
Yeah,
with the technology today we have. It changes so fast. I mean, gosh, it's just amazing with all the things that are out today to make things a lot more efficient than they were 20 years ago.
absolutely,
And it's all
absolutely.
about, I mean, that's for you guys, especially. I mean, you've got to find a way to reduce your labor costs and find your employees to be more efficient on products. And with the technology and stuff that we have today, I mean, things have gotten a lot easier for the end user and to make it more efficient and more powerful.
Well, and we're constantly looking for that productivity tool to save time, but
Right,
also maintain that quality. So,
right.
um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah. Well, let's dig into the questions. That's great feedback there. So. Uh, Can you walk us through some key differences between basic floor cleaning and deep cleaning? We got some within the community doesn't know the difference, and uh, I would like to get your perspective on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, you have your different types of cleaning, and of course, obviously, the first thing you want to find out is what you are cleaning. I mean, that's real important to know what you're cleaning because obviously, if you accidentally put the wrong chemicals on the wrong floor, you can actually end up causing some damage to the floor. It may end up costing you some money or costing you money to pay someone else to come in and fix the problem that you created. So it's real important that you do identify with what you're working on. But as far as the different types of cleaning and stuff, I mean, you have your basic cleaning, which usually you're going to be just, and we're speaking about hard surfaces here, I assume, and just
Yes, yes,
floors. And those I would, you have your neutral cleaner cleaning, just a basic cleaning, from just doing a real light scrub, I guess, if you will. And then you have your kind of a medium clean where you may use like a degreaser or an alkaline type cleaner that's a little bit more heavier duty cleaning. And then, when you got some situations, especially regarding ceramic, porcelain, or maybe even a granite floor or something, I'll say that you may use an acid wash type cleaning. Those are the main three types of cleaning that are done on hard surface floors. Mainly are your neutrals, and then maybe your alkaline degreasers and stuff, and then you have your real heavy duty acidic type cleaning. Those are basically your three types of cleaning for hard surfaces.
yeah. And we've talked about this. I think back and forth several years. Back and forth is like, hey, you're gonna have to use some dynamite on that floor. And when you
Yeah.
talk about that dynamite, it's that acidity,
Right. Right.
bringing that to the floor. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's a great breakdown of what you kind of expect of the hard surface floor cleanings, and especially when you typically looking at that basic as mopping, and then that middle is the alkalinity, and that
Right.
dynamite from acidity. So
Right.
that's a good breakdown from that perspective. So um, what are the most common mistakes people make when trying to do the deep clean on floors, and
Yeah.
how can they avoid it?
Well, I mean, again, going back to again using the right chemical, on each application. Like if you have a marble or limestone or a travertine type floor, any calcium based type surface, even concrete floor, any type of calcium based surface, you never ever want to put any type of acidic products on those floors. If you do, you'll etch the surfaces and create damage, which will cost some money to have it come back and have someone restore it for you. So you want to make sure that you are not using those type of products on any calcium based material. And if you're never sure, what you're working on too, it's real important. I mean, even today with all the ceramics and porcelains that they make now that they manufacture that looks like marble that you think maybe is marble, but it's actually not. It's ceramic. There's a lot of new things out there today that'll really throw you some curveballs with identification on flooring. So if you're not sure about it, there is a little simple test you can do too. For floors also, you can take some of that, like a phosphoric acid or a bowl cleaner or something like that. If you're not sure about a floor and you think it's a marble or granite or travertine or limestone, you can just take a little drop of it, go into an inconspicuous area, of the floor, and just put a couple little drops on it. If you get like a Alka-Seltzer reaction, like where it's bubbling and fizzing, then it's a calcium-based type surface. So you never want to use any kind of acidic products on it. If you don't get a reaction at all, usually it's a niggerous rock or it's a porcelain or ceramic type tile. But you have to be a little careful too sometimes, because a lot of these floors that people put waxes and things like that on them as well. And if they have waxes on them, I mean, they'll still, even if you pour a little acid on them, they won't react either. So you got to be careful and make sure that the floors doesn't have a coating on them too. And there's another real simple test you can do for checking for coatings too, to see what type of coatings. You have acrylic floor finishes, and then you have urethane type finishes on floors. And you can do a razor blade test on it. You just take a razor blade and just push it down on the floor. And if it comes up like in a little powdery type form on the floor, then it's going to be acrylic. If you scrape it and that comes off in a layer, like a sheet, if you will, that's going to be like a urethane. That's going to be a coating. So those are the two best ways to tell, what type of coatings you have on the floors too. But getting back to the cleaning part of it, I mean, basically you want to make sure that you're using the right chemicals, because it's real important that you identify, number one, what you're working on first. Is it ceramic? Is it porcelain? Is it marble? Is it granite? That's real important. And so because the acidic cleaners you can use for ceramic, porcelain, and you can use them also on granite. But you can't use them on any of the concrete, limestones, travertines, or marble top floors, or you'll damage them. One thing that's always safe to use, if you're just doing a regular, you want to do a good deep cleaning on the floor, just use a heavy duty alkaline cleaner. You can't harm anything with alkaline cleaner. I mean, you're safe all the way on it, and they'll do really good jobs. They do just as good as the acid cleaners, but you just got to make sure that you don't let them dry to the surface. You want to keep them wet when you're using them, and make sure that you keep them wet during that time, and follow the instructions on the bottle. I mean, a lot of people don't follow the instructions. I mean, you want to do everything is so fast. Everybody wants to do everything fast today, but most of your degreasers and things like that, when you're doing cleaning, you have to put them down and let them saturate for about 15, 20 minutes or so, and then agitate them. But give them time to work, give the chemical time to work. So if you'll do that, you'll get great results with it. But if you don't, if you just kind of put it on the floor, do a quick scrub and stuff like that, you're not going to get the results you wanted. It's real important that you give the dwell time on those products and make sure that they're doing their job.
Well, and there's so much to unpack there, but the one key takeaway is identifying that floor. One,
Right.
we always constantly talk about that, and even if I question it and I do little tests that Richard recommends, I send it over to him just to validate sometimes, just to make
Right.
sure we're on the same page in regards to the direction with that. And then, it was a tough learning lesson for me coming up, and in communicating it to the team is, or the team would say, hey, this is not working. I'm always coming back to him. Okay, did we let that dwell on the floor per the instructions?
Right. Yeah.
If you let that happen, you'll get a better result than what you're looking for. So,
Right. Yeah. It's real important that you do that, man, because a lot of people get disappointed. They blame it on the chemical. The chemical's not any good, but really it's just as they didn't give it a chance to actually do its job.
yeah,
Yeah.
that is awesome. Great feedback. So, different floor types require different approaches, as we discussed. Um, what are the best practice for deep cleaning hardwood, tile, concrete, and special flooring? And we kind of talked about some of the flooring there already, but
Yeah.
anything kind of sticks out in that particular or question there?
Yeah. It's just for hardwood or ceramic porcelain. I mean, just What do you mean? I guess I'm sorry, I didn't really understand your
Well,
question.
hardwood floors, that's where you got to be a little bit more finicky with it. Not a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
water.
Right.
Um,
Not much water. Just a neutral type cleaner is really what you're going to want to use on most of those. If
Absolutely.
you're just doing a cleaning, for real. I mean, sometimes you're doing restoration or restoring the wood floors. I mean, that's a whole different deal. And I'm not totally familiar with the wood restoration part of it as much on those as I am. I know that for the new floors that you're seeing a lot of now today with the LBT floors and, the those, you're starting to see a lot of that now too, getting replaced by wood or even natural ceramics portion and stuff too. It's getting real popular. And there's some cleaners and good cleaners and stuff out there for just specifically for LVT floors and stuff. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, or if you're referring to actual wood floors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the LBT it's hitting the market
Right.
big time,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they're getting so creative with this LVT, this luxury vinyl flooring,
Mhm.
that it kind of looks like wood floors, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so it kind of throws you off from that perspective. And yes, you do. Y'all are starting to carry a lot of that neutral cleaner for them LVTs,
Right.
and then, but
Well, you,
also, go ahead.
Now, I was just going to say one thing that with the LBT cleaners, you got the cleaners, and then what usually happens with those LBT floors with a lot of foot traffic and stuff is they just kind of get rubbed off a little bit, and they kind of lose their color in those high traffic areas. And now we have these coatings that you can put on top of them to bring the luster and stuff back on them too. We have a product called Viper Venom that's really, really good for LVT floors that we sell the cleaner and the conditioner for the floor, and it's a coating. Those are about the best things you can really do with them. There's not. That's about it, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then would you recommend putting like a Y pad on them LVT floors to kind of
Right.
straighten
As
them up?
far as buffing them,
Nothing aggressive, just something
no, not
soft.
at all.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, and then also, I mean, your specialty is equipment sales too, where you got machines that does concrete work.
Right. Right. We sell a lot of floor grinders and stuff for service prep. We call it is like grinding if you're having to restore a floor, or if you're taking an old concrete floor and you're wanting to restore it, make it a polished surface. Yeah. Yeah. We sell the big, from the small grinders from a 20-inch buffer to as much as a 30-inch grinder, depending on the size of your job and all that. We rent equipment. We also provide training and stuff for that industry as well. And concrete polishing is has really grown over the last 20 years or so. It's just really just taken off. You're starting to see it now, even in a lot of commercial buildings where you never saw it before, where you saw it more in the industrial type buildings. But now we're seeing polished concrete in residential. You're seeing it in public high-rise buildings now. And there's a maintenance program you can use for that as well. That's just like you do any of the other floors too. They've got these diamond impregnated pads that you can use to restore them and refresh them with just neutral cleaners. Basically, they're just like a hard surface floor, like a marble, or actually, I would put them in the same class as a marble floor because they're a calcium-based material too. It's concrete, so it's
Yes.
calcium, and it
Yeah.
reacts the same way as a marble floor would be. And so you would handle them just in the same way. I mean, your general cleaning would be just dust mopping them on a regular basis, and then also cleaning with a neutral pH cleaner. And then some of them have guard materials on the top of them that you just spray and buff, kind of like a wax. And then some of them have the impregnating sealers on them too, that just like you put on marble or granite or anything as well. So basically, just think of them as nothing really special. They're just concrete versus a marble floor. And again, the higher the shine, the higher it is going to be to maintain those shines, also. But as far as, I mean, when you're doing restoration, there's a difference between restoration and then doing your cleaning. Restorations when you're going in there with these big grinders and you're going in there and you're restoring the floor completely from, say, starting with a 120 grit diamond abrasive all the way up to 3,000 to give you a real high reflective finish. And basically, that's what you're doing with the diamond tooling and stuff when you're doing the restoration and stuff on floors. Just think of that diamond tooling as just like sandpaper. You're taking a real aggressive sanding and going up to a real fine finish. And the higher the shine, the higher you go up, the higher in reflectivity that you're going to get with the end result. But yeah, polished concrete is a huge one now as far as.
So is that typically the maintenance programs to do something like that? And we talk about this, and I ask you all the time. Is like, hey, do you recommend doing a quarterly maintenance or every 6 months to keep that
Yeah.
that sheen on the floor going? And
Yeah. Well,
typically, it's 3 months, right? Or
yeah, typically,
longer than that?
it just depends. You got some buildings, though, they have a lot of high traffic on them. If they have real high traffic on there, you're going to be in there monthly, or so, maybe having to recoat or restore an area. It just depends on the amount of traffic, and you just kind of watch the floor. But I would say quarterly is always a good one for doing your deeper cleaning and stuff on there. Maybe do that quarterly, and then maybe if you do a good job with your daily stuff, with your dust mopping and your cleaning with neutral cleaners, things like that, that'll help to maintain that floor and make it last a longer period of time if you're doing the daily stuff. But if you're not doing the daily stuff, you just go in there once every quarter or whatever, it's going to require more work to be done.
Oh
Honestly,
yeah, more
especially in
pain.
the higher traffic areas.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So what role does the floor preparation play in achieving successful deep cleans, and how should a service be prepped before starting? And my question on this is, before you kind of get into that restoration of the floors, um, how important that preparation is.
Preparation is real important, as far as, protecting your walls, your doors, and things like that, wood, metal, things like that. You always want to do a good job of doing prepping with protective plastic or whatever, cover up all the walls and stuff, because some of the products that you are using, some of the heavy degreasers, and if you use an acidic cleaner too, especially, you got to be careful, because if you splash that stuff up on the wood or the walls or metal or anything like that, you can cause yourself a lot of extra time in cleaning up, and then also causing damage, which may cause you to repair or replace some pieces in that case. So protecting your areas and is real important, especially when you're doing like any type of marble restoration or concrete polishing or anything like that, because when you're doing restoration work, you're slinging a lot of slurry and mud and things like that up on a surface. If you get it up on that wall, it's going to be very difficult to get off. Even concrete, it dries and it sticks on the wall. You're going to have a hard time getting it off. So you're going to be painting that wall or painting that wood or whatever if you don't do a good job of prepping. Preparation, you'll spend sometimes more time prepping a floor than you will actually spending the time on it to restore it, in some situations. So
Yeah.
it's real important, for protecting everything when you're doing this type of work, when you're doing any type of deep restoration type work. Absolutely. You want to do a good job in prepping.
Well, and what I've learned in the past is that, one, that's extra work on them afterwards. If they're slinging slurry, they gotta go back and clean that up. Hopefully, they can clean it up.
Right.
Hopefully, they
Yeah.
didn't damage
Right.
it. And then when you're working with the acidity like the AW70, you gotta be careful with that carpet.
Yeah.
Tracking in
That
and
too.
tracking out on, from your restrooms into on the carpet. So.
Into a
Um,
carpet or even onto a concrete or marble floor too from a
yeah,
restaurant that's got ceramic tile. Yeah, I've seen that happen plenty of times where they've scrubbed in a restroom, ceramic tile on it, and the AW70 or the acidic cleaner they were using ran out into the hallway there of the front door, and it was concrete, and they just damaged it.
ah, my
I've seen
gosh.
that happen. Yeah, so you got to be real careful. Yeah,
And I've seen it, and we've had discussions on things in the past. It's like, oh my gosh, what did we just do here, and how can we fix it? And
right.
I tell you, there's been some sticky situations. I reach out to Richard, they saved our butts on it. Taking a different approach, fixing something, or um, trying to get us out of a mess that was created by the team. And man, I there's so much to that point of preparation before you do any floor work, and then making sure that individuals doing the floor work knows what they're doing. Um,
Right.
it
Absolutely.
has the
Yeah.
common sense to
Yeah.
stop if
Right.
things are not turning out quickly, and or start asking questions when things are not moving in the right direction.
Right.
Take a little bit more
No.
time. So
No, do that prep work. Yeah, it's very, very important. Like I said, it's better to spend that time in prepping than it is having to go back and wipe it down later and or fix something or paint something because you didn't prep right. didn't do the proper preparation.
Absolutely, absolutely. So,
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed diving into the story of Richard Hill, but there's more to uncover. Make sure you stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into his fascinating journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss the next chapter. See you soon!